Live. Merhaba arkadaşlar, hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün İngiltere'nin en gözde üniversitelerinden Goldsmiths University of London'da lisans ve bursları Jake'den dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı questions kısmından sormayı unutmayın. Yes, Jake, the stage is yours now.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today, and thank you everyone for coming to listen to me talk about Goldsmiths and the options of postgraduate study at Goldsmiths University of London. In the chat window, I've already put a couple of links, so I'll explain some of these quickly now, and I'll explain maybe two of them a bit better as we go along. So I think there's 4 links. So the first one is the link to our website, so you can read about Goldsmiths, find our programs, things like this. The second one is a link to the Goldsmiths International Scholarship. So this is a scholarship for international students. I'll cover this in a bit more detail later on. Excuse me. The third link is a link to an external organization who lists scholarships that you're able to use to come and study in the UK. So again, I'll explain that in a bit more detail. The fourth link is our YouTube channel, and there's some really great videos on there about life at Goldsmiths that are made by our students. So you can take tours of the campus, you can see what our department's like, you can see their experience, all different things like this. And then finally, on the screen now, but also in that chat window are my contact details. Excuse me. There's my email address and there's my work mobile phone number. So if you've got any questions, feel free to obviously put them into the chat or in the questions tab as we go through this. But also, if you have questions outside the presentation and you want to speak to me, you've got my email address. But also, if you want to send me a message, I'm on almost every messenger app you can think of. So iMessage, WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, all different things like this. So feel free to send me a message as well. I'll be more than happy to chat. But like I said, they're on the screen now. They'll come up again at the end, but they're also in the chat window on this platform. So let's get going. So we are Goldsmiths, University of London, and we were founded in 1891. We've been part of the University of London since 1904, and we're considered to be the 60th most international university in the world. Goldsmiths itself is ranked inside the UK's top 25 for the quality of our research. And then the two statistics on the left, these are both from 2017, but these get awarded every year to Goldsmiths. So we get continually voted one of the UK's top creative and political universities by students. And then the bottom one, London is voted the joint top best university city in the world. So like I said, this is from 2017, but actually in 2018, 2019, and 2020, London was voted the best university city in the world on its own. So it's the best place for you to come and study, to come and experience life, to find careers and things before you either stay in London or move on to maybe wherever you want to go in the world. Goldsmiths itself, we're quite a small university. The average size of a UK university is about 17,000 students. However, Goldsmiths, we have about 10,000. So we're almost half the size of those other universities. UK universities, you can expect to be in a class of about 25 to 30 students to 1 member of staff. But where we're this much smaller, we have a class size of about 15 students to 1 member of staff. So this means you get a lot more contact time with the tutors, you get to learn from them in a closer environment, and it's a lot more supportive than it would be in larger class sizes. Goldsmiths itself has students from 141 different nationalities all around the world, and 20% of our students come from outside the European Union. So that means about 2,000 of our students are from outside the 27 countries that make up the EU. And 60% of our student body is female. We have a really diverse group between these 141 different nationalities and the makeup of our student body. So this map here, this is London. It's a little bit difficult to read if you've not seen it before, but some of you will know London, some of you will have been here, some of you will know it from films and TV shows, but I'm going to show you kind of where we are and what London is. So this map is just central London. London is a very big place. But on the left, you can see just kind of in the middle, it says Big Ben. So this is the big clock tower at Westminster. This is where our government is, where the Parliament buildings are. Just to the left of there, it says in kind of smaller letters, Buckingham Palace. So this is where the Queen lives. Just a bit higher from where it says Buckingham Palace, it says Selfridges. So this is where Oxford Street is, our main shopping street. You've probably seen it from all the tourist photos, or maybe you visited it yourself. But if you follow down to the bottom right of the map, you can see it says Goldsmiths in pink letters. This is an area called New Cross, and this is where we are. So we're just outside the city centre. We have two train stations, New Cross and New Cross Gate, and these both go into the middle of the map where it says the Shard in big letters. This is where London Bridge is. It's pretty much the centre of the city. And to get from our campus to that building there, the Shard, is the tallest building in Western Europe. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes by train. When you get to the Shard, you can then get anywhere in London really, really easily. It's very quick to do. So from our campus at the bottom right to Selfridges at the top left, you're looking at maybe about 20 minutes. It's really easy to get the other side of London from our campus. So just to highlight some of the places you can get to. So this top photo with the people crossing the street, this is Oxford Circus, the main intersection at Oxford Street, which is where I was saying Selfridges is. Bottom left is where it says Box Park. This is a collection of really cool bars and restaurants and kind of trendy places to go to. This is in an area called Shoreditch. So this is just north of where we are, just on the other side of the river. It takes about 20 minutes to get to from where we are. Shoreditch is where kind of like the music industry is and things like this. It's quite a cool place to be. On the right, the photos of the food, the vegetables. This is a place called Borough Market. This is next to London Bridge. So from our campus to there, you're looking at like 10, 15 minutes, really easy to get to. And the bottom photo, that big kind of building, that glass building, that's the Shard. That's the building that's at London Bridge. Like I said, it's the tallest building in Western Europe. So you can get there in about 10 minutes. The bridge in front, this is actually Tower Bridge. It quite often gets confused for London Bridge, but this is Tower Bridge. And a fun fact for you, so I'm not from London, but all of my family is. We've been here for about, I think, 200 or 300 years. But my grandfather was the man that used to open that bridge in the middle for ships to go through back in the 1960s and 70s. So I've got quite a long, history and connection with London. That's where all my family's from. So London itself, like I said earlier, some of you will have been here, some of you will know it, but some things that you probably don't know about London. It's quite a big city. It's 620 square miles. There's 8 million people that live here. So we're not the most densely populated city in the world. Places like Tokyo, Seoul in South Korea, but then Sao Paulo in Brazil are much more densely populated. But there's still a lot of people here. We've got 250 different museums catering for all different types of exhibitions, from large international exhibitions that tour around the world through to very small and niche kind of interests, like a lot smaller museums. There's 320 languages spoken here by people who come from 240 different nationalities. So like I said earlier, there's people from 141 different countries at Goldsmiths, and there's an extra 99 in the city. So it's a very metropolitan place, cosmopolitan place. There's so much different sort of culture and community here for you to learn from, both on our campus and around London as well. We've got over 6,000 licensed restaurants, and a really good thing to do when you first come to London is to write down the alphabet on a piece of paper, then write down a country for each letter that you can think of from the alphabet, and then see if you can find a restaurant that sells that type of food. And I can pretty much guarantee that you can. Like, me and my friends have done this. It's a really great way to learn London, try lots of different food, and find different things, find what you like around the city. But like I said, there's so much to try here, so many different types of cuisines and diets and things like this. It's a really great place to go and eat. We have over 500,000 students in the city, and about 250,000, maybe 300,000 study at the University of London, which we're part of. And the city itself has 15 million visitors annually. So 15 million different people come into the city for business or tourism or things like this. And it's more than New York, San Francisco, and Sydney combined. We've got over 500 different cinema screens playing everything from the biggest Hollywood blockbusters down to like the smallest independent films. You can find them all across the city. We've got 32,000 different music performances happen in this city each year, and that includes 250 different music festivals. And again, this caters for everything you can think of, from hip hop to rock music, dance music, metal, but then through to like we have an Indian music festival, a Chinese music festival, all different things like this. So whatever music you're into, you can pretty much guarantee you can find performances of that style of music here in this city. We've got over 100 different theatres. We've got a famous West End theatre district. This is very similar to Broadway in New York, and you can find the biggest shows between either Broadway in New York or the West End in London. We've got 5 international airports, all within between half an hour and an hour and a half from the city. So flying from Turkey to here is really easy, really quick to do. But then if you want to get anywhere in the world, London is the place to do that from. We've got 143 different parks, and we're actually considered to be one of the, I think the greenest city in Europe for the number of green spaces we have in the city. So I actually come from the countryside. Like I was saying earlier, my family are from London, but I'm not. I'm from the countryside. And so sometimes the sort of noisy city can be a bit much. It can get a bit loud. So it's quite nice to go and sit in the parks and get some peace and quiet and some calm away from the city and just chill out. And likewise in the summer, like we're just starting to get to our study period now. It's really nice just to sit in a park for the day, spend time with your friends and just hang out and have barbecues and picnics and things like this. We've got loads of different sports teams here, and just an example of this, like the professional football teams we have, we've got 19 football clubs in this city, and about 6 or 7 of them are in the Premier League, so it's a big place for sports. And we've got over 2,000 years of history now. Like the city was founded before the Romans came, but then the Romans came around, I think sort of like 5 AD, 4 AD, and they sort of really built the city to what it is, and then it's all continued from there. So over 2,000 years of history now. So something to think about as well with your studies when you come to London. So obviously I work for Goldsmiths, so I'm just talking about Goldsmiths today, but there are about 25, 30 different universities in London. And these universities, there's only about 5 or 6 that are a single campus. So what this means for the other universities is the buildings are based around London. So you may have to travel to one area of London for a lecture, travel to the other area of London for a seminar, or somewhere else for the library, and then somewhere else for your accommodation. The Goldsmiths, every building you need is in one place. Our entire campus is a single site, and it's inside this yellow dotted line at the bottom of the map here. So our libraries, our lecture theatres, our art studios, our media and communications labs, so filmmaking, TV, radio, photography, all things like this are inside this yellow dotted line here. We also have 8 accommodation buildings. You can see 6 of them on this map here. So one is on the campus. You can see that at the top of that sort of yellow dotted line area where it says halls. So if you ever stay in this accommodation building, you'll never have an excuse of being late to class. It'll take you literally 30 seconds to get from your building to your lecture theatre. You'll be there very quickly. There are 4 just on the right-hand side of our campus. One is just off this map. It takes about 5 minutes to walk from that one, but then 2 minutes from the other 3. You can see them, they're just over the road. You'll be at the campus in no time at all. One is at the top right of this map. It looks quite far away, but I live just the road from that building. It takes me literally 10 minutes to walk from my place to the campus. So again, from that accommodation building, you're looking at like 10 to 12 minutes. It's very quick, very easy to do. The final 2 that are not on this map are just west of New Cross. So we're in New Cross here, this map. The other 2 buildings are in a place called Camberwell. And it's literally about a 15-minute bus ride away. The buses in London are really quick. They're really easy. There's one every 2 or 3 minutes. Very easy to do. It's about 5 stops to Camberwell. You'll be there in no time at all. But then, like I said earlier, you can see from this map just how close we are to the city. You can see 2 of the train lines going in. One of the train stations, New Cross Gate, is on this map. It's just over the road from our campus. And these both go into central London. You can see them going into the centre there. That's central London at the top. So like I said earlier, about 5 to 10 minutes and you'll be in the city. It's really easy to do. So I'm going to show you these photos here. These are some of the buildings on our campus. The building at the bottom left where it says Goldsmiths is actually the rectangular building at the bottom of the campus. You can kind of see it here. That's the building we were founded in. It's the Richard Hogarth building. We were founded there in 1891. It's the original building from our campus. This is where like our main lecture theatre is, some of our music department and things like this. Some of our art studios are in there. The building on the right, the kind of grand looking building in the sunshine, that's called Deptford Town Hall. That used to be the town hall for the local council in the area, but Goldsmiths took it over, I think about 40 years ago, quite a long time ago. But again, this is where we have lecture theatres and seminar rooms. The building at the top right is kind of got the sculpture on top of it. We call that kind of like the squiggle, but the building is called the Ben Pimlott building. This is where our design students work. They've got some really amazing studios in there and they can see all of London from their studios. And you can see the Shard just kind of sticking out there on the photo. And then top left, this is the Professor Stuart Hall building. This is really quite a new building, I think built in the last sort of like 5 years or so. This is where our media department is. So like I said earlier, like things like our TV and film studios, photography, radio stations, things like this, they're all kind of inside that building. As you can tell from the photos I've just shown, we have a real mix of heritage and modern buildings on our campus. But then we also have some really great cafes and canteens that cater to all different diets, like vegan and vegetarian and things like this. We've got a really wonderful library on the campus as well. We've got our own cinema. We've got a gym and tennis courts, our accommodation both on the campus and also just very close by. And there's lots of really great healthcare facilities both on the campus and immediately like just over the road from the campus. So like NHS doctor surgeries and things like this. There's also a hospital about 10 minutes from the campus, really easy to get to if anything ever happens. So it's a really great place to be, on our campus and in sort of like the immediate area. But the area that we're in as well, so New Cross itself. So like I said, we're in Southeast London, about 5 to 10 minutes from the city. We're in quite a nice, quiet and calm residential area. It's mainly filled with our students, but we also have like a really dynamic and sort of vibrant community in the area. There's lots of really wonderful cafes and bars and art galleries and music venues to explore in our area before you even get into the city itself. And like I talked about earlier with London and its parks and its green spaces, there are loads in our area. In fact, one that's very close to our campus, about a 5-minute walk away, maybe 10 minutes at most, is a place called Telegraph Hill. As you can imagine from the name, it's on a hill and you can see all of London from it. It's really lovely being there in the summer. It's a really great place just to go and hang out and enjoy the views. So just to go back a step, like I said earlier, so we're at the bottom right in this area called New Cross, where it says Goldsmiths in pink letters. I talked about earlier how 2 of our accommodation buildings are in an area called Camberwell. Excuse me. So if you look just to the left where it says Goldsmiths, it says South London in black letters. Just behind where it says South London, it says Camberwell in grey letters. You can't really see it because it's taken over where it says South London. But that's where Camberwell is. So that's where some of our students will also live. There's a different arts university there as well. But between Camberwell and New Cross, there's another area called Peckham. And it's a really cool place, lots of bars and restaurants and things like this. But between Camberwell and New Cross, like I said about New Cross, there are bars, restaurants, art galleries, music venues, shops, like both large shops, like sort of global shops, but also lots of really independent shops and markets and things like this. So there is so much to explore, so many people to meet in this one small stretch of road before you even get into the city and go start seeing the bigger things like the Tate Modern Art Gallery, one of the most famous art galleries in the world. So you've got this great area to explore, and then you've got all of London as well. It's a really wonderful place to come and study. So something to think about when you study at a UK university is the experience outside the classroom. So making friends, meeting people at the same interests as you, but outside of your class and maybe outside of your accommodation as well. A really great place to do this is clubs and societies. So each university has these, and the clubs and societies are set up and run by students. They're not run by the university. And they're also set up by students who have an interest in a particular thing. So what you'll see at many universities is like a political club or music or different faith and religion societies, academic societies to get help with your work, but then also sports unions as well. So like dance and cheerleading, karate, boxing, football. You'll see lots of these across the universities you're looking at, and we obviously have these as well. Each university has different ones as well, depending on what the students have set up. So one thing that we have that I'm pretty sure no other university has is a chocolate society. So these are people who get together once a month and they share different chocolates from around the world, and they just really enjoy talking about and trying different chocolates. But then when you go through the list, this is just some of them. This is not all of them, but it's just a couple that I'm just going to highlight. You can see lots of different things that people look to do and find different people to enjoy London with, enjoy their time at university. So we have a really amazing and thriving LGBTQ plus students community. We have Hacksmiths, which is it's actually our most popular society. These are people who are really interested in learning how to code and design software. So some students on that will be from our computer science degrees, but some students will be on all different courses and they just want to learn and share different ideas and find people who are into the same interests as them. We have different faith societies like our Christian Union community, but then we have our Muslim society and a Jewish society, lots of different things like this. We have a vegan and vegetarian society, photography, taekwondo, yoga. Our women's football team, set up and run by students, is one of the best women's university teams in London. We're super proud of them. So if there's any women here who are thinking about playing football, here's a team to come and join. But also things like tennis and drama, like all different things like this. There's lots of really great things to do. Like I said earlier, really great place to meet people outside of your class outside your accommodation, build up that support network, find people to hang around with in London, find different friends from all around the world, and maybe like join a group that you're interested in but you haven't done before, so you can meet people who you may not have already have met. Excuse me. So what I'm mainly going to talk about for the next couple of slides is studying a postgraduate degree, kind of in the UK, but specifically at Goldsmiths. So a postgraduate degree, we call these maybe a master's degree. So this is where you really specialize in an area. So like it says on the screen, you usually study a subject in a lot of depth, often with a long piece of original work at the end called either a thesis or a dissertation. So quite often you'll see on a postgraduate degree that you have to write quite a large document. So a dissertation can sometimes be about 10,000 words. Some programs, you don't have to write a dissertation. You have a final project, so something that you make. So you can find these on maybe like the data science degree or the Masters of Fine Arts. You'll make a final project. So you may sometimes have to write a smaller essay as well, but you may not have to write a dissertation. Excuse me. Postgraduate degrees are usually 1 year long, so between 12 to 15 months. But some programs, and we do have a couple of these, can take 2 years. You can see the length of the program when you go on the course page on our website. But obviously, if you're unsure, feel free to contact me and I can go through it with you. The 12-month program, which is quite the standard length, is where the program is delivered over 3 semesters. So these will be September to about February, maybe March time. September to about January, February, then February to about April, May, June time, and then June to September. So those are your 3 semesters. The first 2 semesters is where you take a combination of different modules. You have smaller pieces of work to do, but still you have to write quite like big essays and do quite big piece of project work. Then the final semester, the semester 3, is where you do your final dissertation or your thesis or the big project that I was talking about. You do do research on your final project as you go, and you regularly meet with a tutor who is like your supervisor as you go through the program, and you can talk about all the different modules you're taking, but also talk about the research you're doing for your final project. Get those sort of wheels in motion, start thinking about what it is you want to do. Excuse me. Quite often as well, especially at Goldsmiths, you'll see that on the programs you have quite a lot of optional modules that you can pick. So the program is made up of compulsory modules, so you have to take these modules, but then there's also a lot that you can choose. And this is where you can really sort of shape the degree to be what it is you're interested in and a specific area that you want to move into. So when you go on our course pages, there's a box that says what you'll study. Click on that and then you can see the compulsory modules, but you can normally see the list of optional modules as well, and start getting an idea of where it is you want to go. Just do bear in mind that some programs don't have options, but some do. So just go through these carefully, and obviously, like I said earlier, with most things, like if you've got any questions, talk to me. I can go through it with you, and I can help you find out the options that you want to take. But a really good thing about this is where a postgraduate degree is a lot more specific from an undergraduate degree. This is where you get to really sort of control what it is, what area you want to be in, and really specialize. You can think about your future career or maybe a PhD if you're thinking about this. Really work towards what it is you're trying to achieve. When you study at Goldsmiths as well, on a postgraduate degree, the majority of our programs, they include collaborations with other universities and leading companies and organizations as well. So a good example of this, the data science, the Masters of Science in Data Science, or MSc Data Science that we offer. Students collaborate with students from King's College London, and our data science students are helping to create software and algorithms that will help with the early detection of Alzheimer's disease. But you see lots of other collaborations going on between different universities and different companies. You'll see companies coming in and setting live briefs for you, so you've got to do real world work and real world testing as you go. But then also the research and the projects you'll be doing, you'll have to be speaking to different companies and organizations to help with the work you're doing. This is a really great opportunity to gain valuable experience for your dissertation, like your final project or your thesis that you're doing, but also to move forward into your future career. If you're thinking about the arts programs or design, you can obviously really boost your portfolio to then show people as you go. But then other programs as well, it's things to get onto your CV. So like these projects that I did, this is what I achieved at my university during my postgraduate degree, and this is how I'm going to use this in my career at this company. But like we say here, at Goldsmiths, you'll be inspired to develop fresh ideas, new approaches to your discipline through the teaching of renowned academics and your own research. This is a really great opportunity to spend a year, 15 months, really digging in depth into the projects and the specific subject areas that you want to be involved in. So talking of subject areas, these are the departments that we have at Goldsmiths. I'm not going to go in too deep about all the different departments, but there's quite a lot of different things here. The Goldsmiths itself, we teach arts, humanities, and social sciences. So arts like arts, so fine art, and then design, which covers everything from product design, fashion design, interior design, all different types of designs like this. But the humanities, we've got things like history and English and media and communications, programs like this. And then also with the social sciences, we look at anthropology, sociology, psychology, politics and international relations, lots of things like this. What Goldsmiths mainly looks at is how can we make things better. So we'll absolutely train you to be an artist, to work inside media, to be a politician, be a psychologist. But what we want you to think about is how can you improve things for the people that are following behind you? How can you improve things for society, at large? And this is a lot of things that we sort of think about on our degree, very sort of conscious of how can we improve the world. And like I said earlier, we will teach you to be a psychologist, we'll help you get that job, but we want you thinking about, can you work for an NGO and, lobby the government and change change the law and make things better for people? That's just an example. It's not just psychology, that's across all of our programs. Give you a bit more of an idea of, that we're good at what we do. We have about, I think it's like 17, 18 departments that are on that previous page. And about, I think 10 of them, more in fact, 12 or 14 are considered inside the world's elites. We're ranked 4th in the UK for design and arts. We're 3rd in the UK for the psychology, the research intensity. In fact, I think that's gone up recently. We're 7th in the world for media. We're 14th in the world for art and design, 42nd in the world for sociology. We're inside the world's top 100 for psychology. So we're really highly thought of with what we do. To give you some more idea as well, like the popular departments that we have for students who come from Turkey. So psychology, media and communications and cultural studies, Institute of Management Studies, and then computing. These are just 4 of our most popular departments for students from Turkey. So psychology, we're ranked joint first in the UK for the research intensity in psychology. For media and communications, we're joint first again for the research intensity inside communication and media studies, and we're 2nd in the UK for the research quality for the same area. For Institute of Management Studies, which is where we teach our business and management programs, we're joint first in the UK for our research intensity again, and same for our computing department, which is where we teach data science and programs like this. We're again joint first for our research intensity. So some of you will be thinking, I'm interested in a Master of Arts or a Master of Science degrees. These are more taught programs, they're not research degrees, but the research that we do then gets taught on the other postgraduate degrees. So everything that I'm sort of kind of highlighting here, it all comes through to the programs you do, and the academics you learn from are the same academics who are doing that research. So by being ranked joint first in all of these departments for our research intensity, we're going to have really great expertise and knowledge that we can pass on to you through these programs. So quite a big list, and I'm not going to go through. I'm going to touch on like 5 of these programs. These are the programs that have been really popular for students from Turkey this year for our postgraduate programs. The 5 I've highlighted in yellow, these are our most popular programs. So MA Media and Communications, MA Migration and Mobility, MSc Cognitive and Clinical Neuroscience, MSc Data Science, and then the MSc Foundations in Clinical Psychology and Health Services. So obviously there's a lot of information on this page, but like I said, I'm not really going to go through them. It's more to highlight, these are some of the programs we do. This is not all of the programs. This is just some of them that have been really, really popular with students in Turkey. There's lots to think about here as well. Like I said earlier, doing a postgraduate degree, things get a lot more specific, and it's a really good chance to really sort of dig down into the subject area that you want to be involved in. So here's just a sort of a cross-section of what we can offer and what we kind of do. But you can find all of our programs on our website. I can go through it with you, go through trying to choose one and what your choices are and what your options are as you go through the application process. So I've got some administration here for you, some just kind of things to think about. So when you apply for a postgraduate degree at Goldsmiths, first you apply direct to the university. You go onto the course page on our website and you'll see a button that says apply now. You click that and it loads up the application form. What you'll need to do is obviously fill in your details. You need to tell us about the previous qualifications you've got, your work experience, but then also you need to write a personal statement. Excuse me, and the personal statement is the most important part. I'm going to go through that in a second. The deadline I've written on here for August 2021, it's a soft deadline. You actually do have quite a lot of time to apply, but some of our courses do get full. So we do recommend applying as early as possible. The other reason why you should apply early is you need to give yourself enough time over the summer to get your visa, to sort out accommodation, to double check your finances and make sure you can get here. And just give yourself time to not be stressed going through this process. So where I've put the deadline is August, like I said, it's a soft deadline. But if you get everything, the whole application process finished by the start of August, that gives you 2 months to get your visa and just get yourself ready to come and be here in September, the end of September when your program starts. Almost all of our programs, or our master's programs, require an interview. There's a handful that don't, but we'll obviously explain this to you and go through it with you. And in the interview, we're going to ask you more about your personal statement, what you've told us about yourself, and what you're thinking about doing for your future, for your career, and what you're going to do on the program. To go through the personal statement a little bit here, excuse me, I've just got some quick tips to kind of give you some ideas, what you should tell us on the personal statement and what we're looking for. So the first thing is you've got to just tell us why you've chosen this particular program at Goldsmiths. So why have you picked out this one? What is it that interests you about it? Why have you picked Goldsmiths? But try not to be cliched about it. A lot of people tell us what we already know about the university. So what has drawn you to this program and what is it you're going to try and do? We want you to tell us about your education and your work experience and how it's relevant to the program you have chosen. But only tell us information that is relevant. We don't want to know everything about you. We want to know about what you've studied, what skills you've learned, what work experience you have, and what skills you've learned during work as well, and how it is relevant to the program, like what it is you're going to use and how it applies. We want to know as well that you're sure about the program. So go through the modules on the website. You can click on each one, you can read about it. Tell us about 3 or 4 of them. Tell us about what you find interesting about that module, what you're hoping to achieve, and how it will benefit you in your future career. And then also the final thing to tell us as well is what you want to do in the future. So how will this program help you achieve your goals? Are your goals a job or a PhD or something similar like this? So tell us what your plans are. Tell us how this program at Goldsmiths can help achieve them and what you're then going to go on and do. These are just some quick tips. You can find more information about this on our website. There's a whole section on writing a postgraduate personal statement. And again, I'll be glad to go through it with you and give you some ideas to, maybe what you can write and what you can tell us. So scholarships. So like I said earlier, in the chat window, I've put 2 links. So the first one is the Goldsmiths International Scholarship. Sorry, I put 4 links, but I put 2 links about scholarships, just to be a bit clearer. So the first one is the Goldsmiths International Scholarships. This is a scholarship that Goldsmiths award. There are about 35 available each year, and this year we're offering amounts of £2,000, £4,000 and £5,000 to international students towards your tuition fees. So the money gets taken off your tuition fees automatically. There are 2 deadlines, so the 31st of March, that one's gone. So the next one is May 17th, so just about 4 weeks away, so it's not long to go now. But firstly, what you have to do is apply to a program and have an offer to study with us. So Goldsmiths has said, we want you to come and study with us. The second thing you have to do is you have to accept that offer. So you have to tell us, I'm going to come to Goldsmiths. Then we send you the application form for the scholarship. And what you do is you write a second personal statement telling us why you're a good candidate for the scholarship. And what we want to see is that you have you've done some extracurricular activities, so outside of school, outside of university, that are working towards your career. We want to see people who've done some volunteering, so they're helping people and they're pushing forward in like helping communities and helping society. We want to know mainly why are you going to do this this qualification? Why are you know, how is it going to help your career? But the people who always get the scholarship are the people who write their personal statement about helping people. Like, how are you going to push forward in society? How are you going to improve things for everyone? So that's Goldsmiths scholarship. I don't have a slide for what I'm about to say next, but the second link that I've put in about scholarships is a website called the Scholarship Hub. So this is an external website. It's nothing to do with Goldsmiths, but it's just like a listing website that lists all the different scholarships you can use to study in the UK. So read through this carefully, because there'll be conditions for each one. So some will be just for students from a certain country. Some will be just for students wanting to study a specific program. So go through those conditions carefully, find one that matches your situation, your personal circumstances. Apply for those scholarships. You can add as many as you want together. Hopefully there's one, you know, if you need it, if there's like full scholarships, but anything you can add together that can help is a really good way to sort of go through it. But as always, as I keep on saying, if you've got any questions, feel free to contact me and I can definitely help you, you know, find the right scholarships for you. So also, you know, the extra support that we have around the university. So this is both when you're here and before you get here, and also when you leave. We have our dedicated study abroad team. So these are people that can help you if you want to maybe go abroad for a semester. They can help you with this. Sorry, excuse me. We also have our immigration advisory service. So these are one of the best in the UK. So these guys can help you get your visa to study in the UK. If you have any immigration problems whilst you're in the UK, they're there to help as well. And also, I'll talk about this in a second in a bit more detail. There's a new post-study work visa. This allows you to stay in the UK for 2 years after you've graduated, and these guys can help you with that. We have our well-being team. So these people look after you whilst you're here with us, making sure that you're well and everything's fine. If you've only got any problems, you can speak to them. We have our disability support officers, and these help with all kind of, you know, different disabilities and circumstances, but some just like off the top of my head. So like things like dyslexia and different areas like this. If you need any help with access to things, these are the people to speak to. Our campus support officers and our student advisors, these are based all over the campus. These guys can help you from really simple things, from like, where's my lecture room, through to which lecturer or academic do I need to speak to, where are things on the campus, where are things to do around in the area, all different things like this. Our multi-faith chaplaincies, this is a building for people for all different religions and spiritualities, and also non-religions. If you want some time out, you can go there and speak to people. We have our student union, who I spoke about earlier when I was talking about clubs and societies. We have our LGBTQ plus group, but then also we have our Welcome Week and our Leavers events. So for international students, you have about a week's worth of events where you get to meet people from all around the world before the rest of the students come, get to settle in, learn the university, and just start building those friendship groups. And also when you leave, once you've graduated, we throw a big party and you get a chance to say sort of like a final goodbye to Goldsmiths before you go on and start getting on with your future careers. I've got an update here for you about COVID. Obviously, it's not very much on the screen, but I'm going to talk you through this. So at the moment, the UK has quite a successful vaccination program. I can't remember the figures, but a lot of people have had the vaccine. I think I'm in the next second group to go, so maybe in the next month, hopefully I'll be having my vaccine. We'll see how that goes. We're slowly coming out of lockdowns and different restrictions. So the government plan is, if everything works out, fingers crossed, we should be out of full restrictions by June. So it's June 21st is the date they're aiming for. So what this means is, by September, if everything's gone to plan, your lectures and your classes should be here on the campus in person. What happened last year when the pandemic first started is everyone had to leave. All the universities were closed, so all the lessons moved online. In September, we tried to do the lectures here in person, all the classes here in person, but obviously the pandemic got worse as we got towards Christmas and winter, so everything had to close again. So a lot of students actually took their programs online. Some were still here, taking their classes here when they were legally allowed to be here. But what we're aiming for, obviously what we want the whole world to be, is open in September, that you'll be able to be here taking the classes in person. But the good thing here is, if the pandemic doesn't, if it doesn't go away, if we're still not safe, we're very well equipped to do all of our lessons online, and we'll be there ready to support you if that happens. But fingers crossed for all of us, for all of our healths, that you guys can be here, be with us on campus, and be exploring and enjoying London as well. So I talked about at the start, and I didn't really sort of go into it, but Goldsmiths is part of the University of London. This is a federation of 17 different universities. So it's Goldsmiths, King's College London, University College London, the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, Royal Holloway University of London, lots of really wonderful places like this. So we have this really amazing network that you can be part of. When you study at one of the universities, you get to use the facilities at the other universities. So what this means is when you study at Goldsmiths, you can use the library at UCL, you can use the libraries at King's College London, you can get in touch and use the different facilities. And whilst you may think at the start, like, well, a library is a library, like each library is slightly different at all the different universities. And obviously there's different academics at the different universities, but you get access to this. And part of this network that all comes together into the University of London is there's been 55 presidents and prime ministers, 84 Nobel laureates, and 6 Grammy winners who are part of this. The person sat next to you in your class could be that next president. It could, in fact, be you. So this is a really great place to be and to be part of. The other thing to think about with this as well is the careers service we have. So at Goldsmiths, we have our careers service who can help you find work whilst you're studying with us. So it can help you find part-time jobs either at Goldsmiths or at places all around London so you can support yourself with our studies. But when you graduate, the University of London has the largest careers website in all of Europe. So like I said earlier, there's about 250,000, 300,000 students at the University of London. So these are all really prestigious universities and colleges, and lots of people all around Europe are looking to hire them and get them to come and work for them. You as a Goldsmiths student get to access this network and find jobs that no one else can get to. So I didn't study at the University of London. I just work here, but I can't access that website, but you will be able to. And it's a really great thing for you guys, a really great resource to have. So some of the people that have studied with us who are part of that network I'm talking about. So firstly, we've got the filmmaker Steve McQueen. He was the first Black director to win the Best Picture Oscar at the Oscars Awards in Hollywood. He won it for the film 12 Years a Slave back in 2013. We've had musician James Blake, who's won the Mercury Prize and the Ivor Novello Award. So these are really prestigious prizes in the UK. James Blake, some of you guys will know him, but you'll probably know his music. He's worked with people like Kendrick Lamar and people like this. Fashion designers like Mary Quant and Margaret Howell. Again, you may not know their names if you're not into fashion, but Mary Quant, you'll certainly know her work. So she studied with us in the 1960s, and she was the original designer of the miniskirt. So many of you will know her work just from walking down the street. Maybe you wear them, but you'll know her. You'll know all the work that she's done. We've had some really amazing novelists study with us, so people like Evie Wilde, John Harvey, and Ross Raisin, who have gone to win many awards, so going through our English programs here. But then also people like Simon Hale, Adrian Sutton, and Paul Englishby, who have won. These gentlemen are composers, so they've written music for film, TV, and theatre, and they've won awards like the BAFTA, the Olivier, the Emmy, and the Tony Awards. The only awards they're missing there, I think, is an Oscar, and then they've won all the major ones in Western Europe and the Western world. So these are really great people who have come through us. And then finally as well, people like Rob Stringer and Terry Felgate. So Rob Stringer was the chair of the Sony Music Group in America. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. I'm trying to hold it in. So yeah, Rob Stringer was the chair of the Sony Music Group in America, a very, very large record label. And then Terry Felgate was the managing director of EMI Records in the UK. So EMI, one of the major labels, they were who Queen was signed to, who Radiohead was signed to. So again, a big organization. In the arts, we've had 7 winners of the Turner Arts Prize. So possibly the most famous one is Damien Hirst. But then also all of our academics who teach art here have been nominated for the Turner Arts Prize. This is the biggest prize in the UK for arts. So if you're looking to study arts, these are the people to come and learn from. They've all been nominated for it. I think a few of them have actually won it. So it's a really great place to learn from. Obviously, these people that I'm talking about are all kind of inside the creative industries. They've won huge awards. But the people that we're most proud of are the 336 psychologists, the 487 social workers, the 882 designers, the 7,308 teachers, and then the 1,840 historians, among many other professions that we've taught. The people who may not be famous household names, but people who have gone out into society, who have changed things, made other people's lives better, and also really sort of achieved things in their own personal careers and lives. These are the people that all come together to make one Goldsmiths, and these are who we're super proud of. So, final thing I want to touch on, like I mentioned earlier, there's the 2-year post-study work visa. So what this means is, When you finish the university, when you've graduated and the degree is now over, you can apply for a new visa through our immigration team. This will let you stay in the UK for 2 years and you can work in any job. So if you want to work in McDonald's and just kind of hang out and do your thing, you can absolutely do that. But if you want to go and find that career that you've just been studying for, you can go and do that as well. At the end of the 2 years, if you want to stay in the UK, you will have to get a company, maybe the company you work for, to sponsor you for a new visa. Otherwise, unfortunately, you would have to leave. This is a really amazing opportunity that starts this year that wasn't there before. So when you come and study these postgraduate degrees and you get this real working experience, you can then apply for this new visa. It's very simple, very easy to do. And then you can come and work here in London. This photo is a photo that I took on a plane ride home from Berlin, and it flies down the center of London. It banks right at, when you get over the center and you get this view. I quickly got my phone out and took this photo. And in here alone, if you know the things to look for, you can see so much of its history and so much of its present and its future. So at the bottom, you can see Tower Bridge. I pointed that out at the very start. Just to the right, there's the kind of castle-looking building. That's the Tower of London. It's almost 1,000 years old. Just the other side of the river on the left is the Shard, that big kind of pointy building. I've been talking about that a lot. This is the tallest building in Western Europe. Opposite the Shard, on the other side of the river, there's always kind of modern looking buildings. This is where our financial district is. You can see there's kind of like a corner kind of shaped building, like a triangular building, lots of roads leading to it. That's where the Bank of England is. At the top left, underneath the plane wing, there's the London Eye, the Ferris wheel. Just opposite that is the Houses of Parliament. You can just about see them in this photo. But these are all the places that you could be experiencing, studying here, you could be working in, you're using that 2-year visa. There's a lot of wonderful opportunity here. And obviously, pandemic willing, I really hope a lot of you come and get to experience this. It's a really great place to live. But anyway, thank you so much for sitting through this. I've been talking for quite a long time. I appreciate there'll be some questions to answer now. So like I said at the start, my contact details are inside that chat window. Here they are again at the end. I've also put the link to our YouTube channel inside that chat window. I do recommend going on there and having a look through our videos. Like I said at the start, students have made them, or they've been very heavily involved in making them. So you get to see from their perspective what it's like. You don't just have to listen to people like me talking about it. You can see their experience as well. So thank you for sitting through this with me. I'm just going to stop sharing this now, and then I'm going to go through some of the questions that popped up there. But if you have any more, do feel free to put them in the. So, there was some in the chats.
Yes, Jake, we have a lot of questions in the question section.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, first one in the chat window, I heard that Brian Molko studied drama. Yeah, so Brian Molko from the band Placebo. Yeah, he studied that. In fact, I think the whole band, apart from the drummer, studied here. Okay, I go from the bottom up, don't I? That's the order.
Yes.
Okay, so the first question. This is quite a specific question. About someone's personal circumstance. So I want to study for a master's degree. I'm studying classroom teaching. My GPA is here. I'm a citizen of Bulgaria. I'm studying in Turkey. Can I apply without having a language document? So I think by this question, firstly, please email me and I'll go through this with you in person, directly. But I assume you mean to apply to a UK university and get your visa, you need to prove your level of English. This isn't just a requirement of the university. So firstly, we do need to know that you can communicate in English, so reading, writing, listening, and speaking, to a level to be able to do the degree. But the other side of this is a requirement by the UK government. So we can't do very much to sidestep this. This is kind of set in law and we get in trouble if we don't do it. However, there are lots of different qualifications you can use to prove your level of English. So one is called the IELTS, one is called the TOEFL. There are lots of different things like this, but also qualifications from lots of different countries that we can accept. For any university, any British university you're thinking of, so this includes Goldsmiths, go onto their website and you'll see a search bar at the top. Type in their English language requirements and you'll see a big list of all the different qualifications that they can accept. So like I said, if you do that with Goldsmiths, you can see everything that we take and what it is you'll need to do. But it is as a requirement of the UK government, so we can't necessarily avoid this. The next question, so can we get a conditional acceptance if we don't meet the language requirement? So yes, what you can do in this circumstance, whether you are finishing your undergraduate degree or you don't have the language document yet, you can still apply. What we'll give you is what's called a conditional offer. So this is what you've already said in your question. The conditions will be, if you're just missing the language document, is to prove your level of English. If you're missing your university degree, if you're still completing it, the condition will be finish your university degree and get the right score. But once you've done those, you send us the transcripts, you send us the scores, we check it, and then we move it to what's called an unconditional offer. At that stage, it's unconditional, no conditions left. It's just now for you to decide whether you want to come and study with us or not. But yeah, you can apply if you don't have the documents. We'll just give you a conditional offer, so absolutely. This next question is, do you offer an English preparation year? So we don't do a year. What we do is we have a program called pre-sessional English. So this is where you study English with us before you come and study your degree. We do these for 5, 9, or 12 weeks. So these are people who just need to improve. We don't do a full year of English lessons. Excuse me, there are lots of different language schools in the UK who do offer, 11 months worth of English, and you use basically what's called a short-term study visa that allows you to come and take those programs. So if you are looking for a year of English, they will be the best place to go to. If you literally Google language school London, you'll find hundreds of them. Some of the good ones is like the Dolphin School of Language, the Wimbledon School of English, things like this. You'll find them. But yeah, they're really good, and you can do that kind of English preparation year. But like I said, we do these pre-sessional programs if you just need to improve a bit before you come and study with us. But then also when you are studying with us, we have what's called in-sessional English assistance. So this is when you are in the session, you are studying with us, but we can help you with your level of English whilst you're studying. So obviously moving to a new country, speaking English full time, like all the time, writing essays, how we write them, you may need some support with this. These are the people you speak to. We have our own English language department and you can get lots of support from them. And that's all offered. The pre-sessional English programs, there is a fee for those. There's a tuition fee. But the in-sessional programs where you have help during the program, that's free. That's included in the cost of the university. The next question, which programs are most popular for international students? It's a bit of a difficult question to answer because honestly, it really depends on which country or which program, things like this. Goldsmiths is most famous for our art and our design programs. It's what everyone knows us for. But we are really, really popular in things like psychology, media, lots of different programs like this. But it really depends. I mean, to answer a question like this, it's more, for me, it's more about what do you want to study rather than what is everyone else studying. So yeah, finding your way to go through. The next question, so do we need to study foundation at Goldsmiths or do we have any chance to study any other institution before you come to Goldsmiths? So yes, you can do foundations at lots of different places. There are lots that we accept. There are lots of really great places around the world and also in Britain, in London, that you can study at and you can take a foundation year. We have, I believe, 6 foundation programs. These are called international foundation certificates. So you can take these for a year and then you progress into some of our programs. You can find these on our website, the International Foundation Certificate, but you don't have to do our foundations to get to Goldsmiths. You can study at other places and take their foundations as well. The next question, does the government give financial allowance for social activities? No, as an international student, you do not get any funding from the UK government at all. I mean, I barely get any and I'm British. But yeah, there's no financial allowance for social activities. You've got to fund this all yourself through scholarships, through loans, through your own savings, things like this. So yeah, it does cost a lot. So it's worth thinking about what you can afford and how you can do it. The other side of this as well is, finding work whilst you study with us. Some people can afford not to work. I wasn't one of those people. I had a job both when I did my undergraduate degree and when I did my postgraduate degree. And I used that to support myself, to be able to, buy things, to live, to eat. But it was a really great chance to sort of meet people as well, and meet people from not just your university, but other areas of the city that you're studying in, different experiences of life, and meet people away from the university. It was really good. The visas that you'll most likely have if you're an international student will be called the student visa, and this allows you to work for 20 hours per week. Now, 20 hours, it may not sound very much, but it's more than enough. Like I worked part-time jobs. I just worked 2 days at the weekend when I was at university. So that's about 14, 15 hours. And that gave me enough money, along with the money that I had saved and the loans I had used to get through university. So you can do it, it's fine. So the next question, could you please inform me about the minimal GPA requirement for a bachelor's degree application? Is it possible to get an acceptance with around a 2.5 GPA? So for a question like this, it depends which program you're applying to. The average kind of average entry requirement that we ask for is usually around a UK 2.2 or a 2.1. So these are UK classifications. These usually work out around 60 or 70% to try and transfer it. And then again, to put it into a GPA, this is around 2.5, 2.7 GPA. Some courses are higher, some courses are lower in terms of their entry requirements. So it does depend on the specific program you're looking for. But what Goldsmiths does is we don't just look at the entry requirement, like the academic grade. We look for the personal statement. We want to know who you are as a person, and do you fit what it's going to be like at Goldsmiths? Do you fit our profile? Are we a good fit for you? So sometimes we do see people with lower GPAs get in. The thing to think about is that, because we are quite a popular university, there'll be lots of people applying that do meet the GPA and their previous degree is in a really sort of relevant area. So like I said, we do read the personal statements, we interview everyone, and we go through this process. But it's just worth thinking about the competition you're up against, the other students who are applying. But in your circumstance, like you said, you've put your GPA here, but please contact me. Tell me which program you're thinking about applying for, and I can go through this with you and work it out. The next question, so how many credits approximately do we get per semester? So for an undergraduate degree, you actually study 360 credits across the 3 years. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what it is for a master's degree. I believe it's about 180, maybe 120. But the way it kind of works is the modules you take in semester 1 and semester 2 are usually about 15 to 30 credits. Then the big project you do is usually about 60. So I think it's about 180 this adds up to. But whilst the credits are all kind of advertised, they're on the website, and you can actually work out, in your head, how big a piece of work you're going to have to do for each module by the number of credits. So for a dissertation, it's usually 60 credits. So a dissertation is going to be a big piece of work. If you have a 15 credit module, it's going to be less work. Doesn't mean you can take it easier. You still got to do the work, but it's going to be less. It's going to be a smaller module. But we don't actually look at the credits in terms of what grade you get. Like credits is quite like from my understanding, a bit of like an American system. So you do have to complete the credits in the UK degree to get the degree, but we look at your grade rather than the credits. It's quite confusing to explain, and it's quite confusing to understand. But yeah, a master's degree is usually about 180 credits in total. So I'm currently an undergraduate, the next question, sorry. I'm currently an undergraduate student in the Department of International Relations. I'll graduate in 2 months. Could you give information about graduate education in the field of social sciences? For example, how many GBP per academic year? So I think that's a Great British pound. So what's the cost per year? Well, honestly, to begin with your first question, we have lots of different programs in social sciences areas. It's what we do. So inside international relations, there are lots of things you can study. So I'm not really sure. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how deep to go with that question. But the second question, the average price of our postgraduate programs is about £17,000 for the year. So that's your tuition. Accommodation is separate, so is living and things like this. But the tuition fees is usually about £17,000 per year. In terms of your first question, like I said, we do have lots of programs in this area, especially international relations. It's more about when you get to postgraduate studies, like I said at the start, and kind of mentioned as we went through, is because it's such a specific area. It's a lot less broad than it's a lot less broad than undergraduate study is. So the course titles are very specific, and the modules you take are very, very specific. So it's more about you trying to work out what it is you want to study, what you're looking to get out of this. If you're not sure, a good thing to do as well is to think about what job you want. Like, do you have a goal? And then work backwards from there. So if you have, if you want to be like a specific job, then you work out what qualifications you need to do that job. And then that then tells you what qualification you should get. But with all the questions, please feel free to email me. I can go through the courses with you, and maybe we can have a chat outside of this and we can go through it. Yeah, it'd be cool. So the next question is, what are the requirements for the law department? Obviously, this is really quite specific. At the moment, we don't have any law postgraduate degrees. Our law department's quite new. We do have a PhD that we do in law, and then the rest of the degrees are undergraduate degrees. So what we need is, in A-levels, is A, B, B to get into them. So that's from school. For the IB, I think is about 36 overall, somewhere around there. Or maybe it's lower than that. I'm sorry, I can't quite remember. Yeah, it's at high school that we need to get into the undergraduate law departments. But with all the questions like this with entry requirements, if you go onto our course pages, so find the program you want to study, scroll down a bit, and you'll see a box that says entry requirements. Click on that, it will open up, and it will tell you exactly what we're looking for each program. The next question, is there an agreement between Goldsmiths and any broadcasting company as internship for media and communication postgraduate students? So as far as I know, there's not, I don't think there's a formal agreement as such, but we do have really great connections with lots of different broadcasting companies. Lots of our students do go on to work for the BBC, CNN, and things like this. Also, people from those organizations, from The Guardian, CNN, BBC, et cetera, do come in and do guest lectures as you get a chance to meet them and speak to them. And they're all really welcoming, really wonderful to speak to. If you want to work at the BBC or The Guardian, it's really easy to work out their email addresses. So you can contact them and start getting some information and get should do. But yeah, there are some really good work placements that come up on the media and communications program, and also our careers service as well. They can really help you with the links that you need to get work when you graduate as well. The next question, so how many hours could we work per week? So I kind of covered this earlier, but just to repeat and go through it. The visa that you'll have, the student visa, lets you work for 20 hours per week. So like I said earlier, when I was at university, I worked for about 14 or 15 hours per week. Sometimes I took on extra shifts and did a bit more work. If I did it in like the evenings and at weekends. But yeah, 20 hours, obviously that's the legal maximum you're allowed to do. But it's enough time. The biggest thing you need to think about, obviously you need the money to support yourself, but the biggest thing to think about is balancing your work, or your job, with your education. And obviously what you're here to do is your education. So making sure you get those balanced, get them working together and work out where your priorities are, and you'll be good. So the next question, I think this is the final one. Can a 3-year university graduate study masters at your school? Yes. So what we're looking for is people who've completed a degree, as long as the degree is equivalent of a UK degree, and we can check this for you if you're not sure, then yes, you can absolutely study with us. You just got to meet the entry requirements of the program, write a personal statement, and we'll be good. But yeah, you can absolutely study with us. I think I've covered all the questions. I hope I didn't miss any, just double checking. But as I've said, please absolutely contact me if you do have any further questions. Obviously, some of those were quite specific. So if you want to contact me and I can go through your own personal circumstance, we can do this privately away from this. I would absolutely be happy to do that. So my contact details are in the chat window. There's my email address and my phone number. So yeah, be really happy to speak. But thank you everyone so much for sitting through this. Appreciate taking up quite a bit of your time. It's been really lovely speaking to you all today. So thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you very much for your great presentation, Jake. We believe it was a really informative webinar for the attendees. And we had a lot of questions and you covered them all. Thank you for your answers.
It's all good.
And also, I would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Goldsmiths University of London ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için JK'in paylaşmış olduğu mail adresinden iletişime geçebilir ve linkleri inceleyebilirsiniz. Yarınki webinarlarımızda görüşmek üzere. Thank you again, Jake. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone for coming again. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.